And take up the sword of the Spirit, which is the spoken word of God, with all prayer and requests, all the time, with perseverance for the saints. The sword of the Spirit is the spoken word of God, praying at all times with perseverance for all the saints. Prayer is obviously important. We need to be watchful, as Jesus says, at all times. Watch and pray. And the verse says to pray in the Spirit. See, we're supposed to pray by God, not by ourselves. We're supposed to let God speak through us. Pray in the Spirit, so that we're speaking the Word of God, the spoken Word of God. We're supposed to submit to God, and then the devil will flee, right? You take up the sword of the Spirit. Elsewhere in the Bible, God says, when we speak, we're supposed to speak as if speaking the very words of God. We're called to walk in the Spirit, not in the flesh, not in our own mind, our own self. We're called to have a trust, a faith in God, not in ourselves, a submission to God, an obedience to God and His Word. Jesus is the Word of God. And that's what Hebrews 4:12 says. It's Jesus is the Word of God. Read the verses before and after, and you will see it's talking about Him. We are called to watch and pray because the flesh is weak. The Spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. So we're called to take up the sword of the Spirit, always, and persevere to watch and pray. That verse in Ephesians 6 also talks about taking up the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit, and praying the Word of God, the spoken Word of God, on all occasions. So we're called to take up the knowledge, the wisdom of salvation, of our salvation, and pray the Word of God, knowing that we're saved, walking firmly in faith, God's faith, by God's Spirit, speaking the very words of God over all the believers, all the saints, with all perseverance for all occasions. Stand firm in what God has done. Wear the whole armor of God. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, powers, and spiritual wickedness in high places. People are not our enemy. It's the demons behind the people. Like Jesus turned and said to Peter, "Get behind me, Satan." He didn't address Peter. He was addressing the demon, Satan, behind what Peter was saying. See, Peter wasn't the enemy. It was Satan behind what Peter was saying. That was the enemy. And that's the same now, today, with other people. Our so-called enemies, it's not the people. Why do you think we're called to forgive everybody? And God says, if you don't forgive, then I'm not going to forgive you. Because it's the people that are not the enemies. It's the demons behind it. And we're called to pray for all the people, for all the saints. But we need to be praying for the other people too. Walk in God's faith, not your own. Love God and love your neighbor as yourself.